But the truth is that the main issue in Warhammer 40k right now is Games Workshop. No, like seriously, 40k itself is suffering because of GW's tenure. And if you look at the content that I've done recently, where I've been salty, you'll notice that I've never been salty against someone that I've actually played against. I've never been salty if I've got bummed in a game by an overpowered faction. I don't care about that. I don't. Whilst I appreciate the efforts that GW puts into balance, I understand it's very difficult to balance a game like 40k with how many moving parts they've got in there. But the reason there's so many moving parts, and the reason why 40k seems to be fucky Wookie, is because of GW's management of the game. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, they have done unbelievable harm to Warhammer 40k. I don't think people understand the extent of the harm that Games Workshop has done because of the constant churn. Because of the constant churn. I don't, everyone's always looking forward, next update. And whilst they've got us all looking forward to the next update, you don't look behind you and see the trail of fucking corpses that are being left in the wake of this scorched earth that GW has been going through. I mean, we're not just talking lost models. We're talking a fundamental shift in the attitude of the game. We're talking, the attitude of the game, the attitude of the player base, the attitude towards people's collections. Games Workshop's frankly huge lack of respect for the player base. They lie so much, so often, so constantly that it's at this point I just don't believe a word that they say from main studio GW. Like the most blatant one was what happened with Heresy. But what's actually really interesting is I've actually recently done some digging backwards, and Games Workshop, even when they get caught out by something and they apologize, which they rarely do, after the hype after the drama has died down, they go back and delete all their apology stuff. So a great example of this is when the Votan dropped. And remember, the Votan being broken was only a couple of years ago, like 2.5 years ago, right? And they did they did a whole article on Warhammer Community. They did a video on YouTube on Warhammer TV. You can't, and then where they had the whole James Workshop go, of course I'm going to go make Codex Zotes, everything go to a vulnerable save. They've taken that video down. They've taken that off Warhammer TV. They've taken the article down from Warhammer Community, and they've taken that down. So they did the apology, and then they've scrubbed it so that there's no evidence that they ever actually apologized. The only videos that you can find, and please correct if I'm wrong here, maybe my algorithm's different, maybe I didn't search it that well, but the only evidence of the apology video that I could find was the honest wargamer reacting to the video. That's the only one I could find. So Games Workshop is really, really in the last 2 years, something has happened. Okay, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they've just decided to go full mask off. I do not know what's happened. But in the last, as someone who has been playing this game for 27 years, as someone who has grown up with this game and is not who grew up with the old Hammer, and in very important times in my life, from basically 16 to where I am now, the last 16 years, this new Games Workshop that we are dealing with is unprecedented. Games Workshop is worse now than they were in 7th edition. Now that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. But the reason why they're worse now is because before they would just, how to put this? They would constantly release more and more broken stuff, but they weren't really actively hostile towards their community, towards their player base, right? So, you know, if you look at the progress over the course of 6th and 7th edition, the game got, which is basically 7th was 6.5. The game was unbelievably busted, and that's what almost caused it to fail. We're talking, you could take an army of 10 Riptides, because there's no rule of 3. Every Riptide could fire 4 times. So it's like having 40 Riptides worth of firepower in your army, and there was no L-shaped ruins back then. It would, if you've seen old Hammer boards, there's like 5 bits of terrain on the whole thing. So it was just insane, right? It was just insane. And so the reason 40k sucked in 7th edition wasn't because of GW being hostile. It was because of GW basically just being like, release more broken stuff, release more broken stuff. But, you know, it was before it was incompetent. And GW before were like, well, GW's whole mantra before was, well, we sell the models, but we sell the models before we worry about the game, kind of thing. Like, well, sell the models is kind of the wrong way of looking at it. They said they're a model company, not a game company, right? And so that's you know, obviously fucked, because the game, you call Games Workshop, and obviously people play 40k first and foremost, and the competitive scene leads to casualty and all that kind of stuff. But at least that's more of a they fucked it because of a blind spot, and they fucked it because of, like, essentially a fundamental misunderstanding, but not malicious, just a misunderstanding. And over the course of, you know, 8th edition, and so 8th edition was humble GW. 9th edition was Games Workshop getting a spring back in their step again. And then 10th edition has just been so strange. So strange. And not even really the whole of 10th edition. 2025 has been a insane year. It's been insane. So, yeah, I don't know what's happened with Games Workshop. I do not know what's happened, but I fully agree with Cornate Gaines here. I fully agree. We, as a community, should not be bickering. We should not be infighting. I actually said that when I did the whole like reaction to the Pontius video and the Major Kill video, I said, remember, we should all actually remember that we're all Warhammer players first, and we're all in the same community. And I said, I wouldn't want Pontius to go anywhere. I wouldn't want Major Kill to go anywhere. I wouldn't want Midwinter Minis to go anywhere. I wouldn't want fucking Arch to go anywhere. I wouldn't want anyone, any YouTube Warhammer creator to go anywhere. Because first and foremost, we may not agree, but we are, whether we are brothers in arms, whether we admit it or not, we're brothers in arms. Are all actually meant to be, even if we disagree, fundamentally, we're on that foundation of we're all fucking here to play 40k, right? And we're all here in the community. It sounds like an exaggeration, but the enemy is Games Workshop, and no amount of fancy models is going to make up for the fact that the game is going through a bit of a weird one. And I don't. Here's the thing: I don't worry about the game. As crazy as that sounds, I do not worry about Warhammer 40k. The game itself will be fine. It'll just be, it'll change, but the game itself will be fine. The thing I worry about is Games Workshop. Okay? The thing I worry about is Games Workshop. Something has changed with them. Something has changed. And if I'd say anything, I think that they have entered their not necessarily the final form, but they've entered late stage corpo mode. And look, do not mistake me for a bleeding heart socialist. All right. Okay. I'm not. Anyone who's watched the channel for a long time will know that I am very apolitical. I fucking hate politics, and I'm not immune to it. No one is. No one's immune to it. We all find ourselves getting drawn in and riled up by the news and all that kind of shit. But I try my very, very best to be apolitical, and I always say that, you know, everyone is welcome on this channel. Left, right, up, down, spinning circles. You're all welcome as long as you leave the politics at the door. So the reason I mention this is I don't want anyone thinking like I'm there like, boo, capitalism, boo, or anything like that. I'm not. All right, I am very aware of the fact that it's only through the miracle of consumer capitalism that I'm not dying in my 30s, living in a pile of my own shit. Okay, I'm very, very, very aware of that. All right, so please understand. But I think the problem is that Games Workshop has gone full fucking corpo. I think, you know, I don't know what it is, but it feels like Games Workshop is no longer trying to. It really feels like they're just hostile. Yeah. I agree with See, here's an example. I agree with Swords and Smith 87. 40k is the most balanced it's probably been. Audition, it's a glorious time to be a player. Exactly, 100%. If you 40k from a gameplay point of view, from a balance point of view, from a competitive point of view, is best it's ever been, and I won't ever take that away from it. There's other things I have problems with, like the flavor, but you know, from what was once only a dream is now a frightening reality. To quote Commander Thor, I don't know where that came from. But something has. This is why I don't worry about the game of 40k, because I've seen editions rise, editions fall. I don't worry about that. But something has fucking happened in Games Workshop, which has made them. I've never seen them like this before. I've never ever seen them like this. I mean, and I understand a lot of why they. I don't. In fact, I don't really understand why they do half what they do anymore. Yeah. So yeah, that's the that's my rant. Games Workshop. Something has happened, and I don't know if it's them going full corpo. I don't know if it's brain drain. I don't know if it's a fundamental culture shift. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a combination of all those things. I mean, it's interesting. I've been speaking. I won't say. Please understand that this is not. I made it the fuck up, but I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Okay, I know that sounds like a bit of a cop out, but please understand. I promise you, I'm not lying to you. Okay, some quite in the know people who have been in this industry for a long time. I was chatting to them recently, and they were like, Games Workshop, the way they described it is Games Workshop regularly conducts like pogroms in their company, within their company. And that's, you know, and that's why, you know, on an unrelated note, that's why you have some of the original incredible talent at Games Workshop that doesn't work there anymore. And we're not just talking, you know, we've had loads of people go over to Warlord Games, but look at people like Peachy, Duncan Rhodes. How, you know, it's almost become a pipeline now. Work for GW, something fucking go, work for GW, and then basically fuck off and set up a YouTube channel. And I think most people realize now you could be more successful outside of GW than inside GW when it comes to Warhammer. If you want to be a successful person who does Warhammer for a job, going and work at Games Workshop is actually the last thing you want to do. It's the last thing. Yeah. It's the last thing. What you want to do is be outside of GW. The success is outside of GW. And I think that might be the number one thing that's changed. Yeah. Pogroms, it's purging. You know, like I think it's what I think it was like it was the term used for a lot of the early communist purges in following the October Revolution. So you know, when the Soviets would round up and expel lots of people that didn't agree with them, the Red Terror, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit of an old-timey term, and I'm probably misusing it. So please forgive me if I've please understand. Please forgive me if I've misunderstood. Okay, and yeah, we'll say purges instead. We'll say cleaning house, whatever you want to say. It's just a term. I thought I'd use something different for a change. So yeah, basically, I wonder if it's a case of Games Workshop's just got the wrong people working there. And I can tell you this, as someone who worked in a corpo environment, remember, boys, I worked corpo for 10 fucking years. All right? From basically leaving uni to a few years ago going full time. For 10 years, I climbed the greasy corpo ladder. And I can tell you what, and I work for 3 different companies, okay? And every single one of them went the same fucking way. Every single one. They'd start off with the best of well, pretty much all, they weren't all startups either. But every single one, maybe, am I the problem? No, seriously. Every single one of them went the same way. You have this original core team, which is the shit. Is just God tier. And then something will happen 2 or 3 years in, and the first brick will fall. The first person will leave. The first key, the first link in the chain will leave. And then within a year or 18 months, that original team is gone. Even if there's like 1 or 2 people hanging on, the original team is gone. And the people that have come in to replace them, some of them will be okay, but some of them won't be. And then some of them, the ones that won't be, will essentially cause a lot of the remaining good people to leave until eventually all you've got left over is shit. You've just got a core of shit. You've got bad managers who have been often hired in a rush to fill a gap. That causes a whole problem because you've got someone who thinks, well, the manager's now left, I should be able to rise up. No, we'll hire externally. So the manager doesn't know what the fuck's going on. The employee who's been snubbed doesn't want to fucking help anymore because they've been snubbed. And that's just a small example. And then the people that will come in could have a different attitude, could have a different culture. They might be from it might be from an adjacent industry, but not the same industry. Like, oh, well, you guys sell stuff, so we've hired this guy from retail, but it's like nothing to do with what you do. Yeah. So basically, and it goes both ways. I want to make something clear. It goes both ways. I have seen companies that started off with very liberal values, the culture, which isn't a problem, by the way. It's not. There's loads of successful companies who are very generous with like sick pay and all that kind of stuff. It's entirely industry dependent. If you have good, competent people who are very switched on, you won't have issues with being like, hey, yeah, 12 days paid sick, no dramas, because they won't take the piss. The problem is when that first chain leaves, then someone at the moment, so that first person leaves. And if someone gets hired in who takes the piss, who starts abusing the charity, it fucks off everybody. I had this man, I've seen it with my own eyes. Second company I worked for, they hired in this manager, and they claimed toil for everything. Toil is time off in lieu. It was a system that almost nobody used, but it was a case of, okay, very rarely, if you need like if you need to be somewhere on a Friday, you can like work on the weekend, although we prefer if you didn't because like whole like lone working stuff there. Or you can like do like basically like 2 12-hour days and then basically get, the 8 hours you would have worked on a Friday, you can have that off. And this motherfucker ruined that system for everybody. And they also used to have a policy if you can come in wherever you want. You can start at 9, finish at 5. Or for me and a couple of the other guys, we would come in at 7 in the morning and leave at 3 because we were working in fucking Manchester and the traffic is insane. My commute, when I could go in at 7, was 25 minutes. 30 minutes tops. If I had to come in at 9, it would be 2 hours. Now, the problem is that this fucking lazy fucking knobhead came in, claimed they were doing like 3 like 14 15-hour days Tuesday to Thursday, so that way they didn't have it wasn't even just, it was Monday to Wednesday, and then they didn't have to work Thursday, Friday. And I was like, there's no fucking way that this person is doing this. So I literally, I came in at like, I came in so early. I was getting to the office at 8 most times, and this bad manager would already be there. And so, because I'd set off at 7, get there for 8, leave at like 4 kind of thing. That was generally what it was. But when I switched to 7-3, because what happened is I was like, I'm going to get in here so early. I've got to be the first in the office, because if I get, because she said like she's doing these like 15-hour fucking days or something. She's got to be getting in here at like 6 or 7 o'clock. So what I'll do is I'll get into the office at 7, and I'm not going to start. I'm not going to start. Work till then, until 8, because I can't really start my work until 8 because in the relation for other people turning up. But I'm gonna come in at 7, maybe answer a few emails, or maybe just like fuck around in the office, whatever it was. I had IT privileges because I was the IT. I wasn't the IT guy. I was one of the guys who knows computers, and so became the inadvertent IT department. And I installed Pharaoh, the original Pharaoh game, on my PC, and I was like, I'll play Pharaoh for an hour, just because I can. And then 8 o'clock, obviously that'll go off, locking into the work, doing my job, of course. But basically, I'm just going to get into the office a bit early just to see if I can beat this guy into the office. Guy was rocking up at 10 to 8. So he'd come in 10 minutes before he thought anyone else who was early would come in, and then claim he'd been there from 6. And so where his office was and where my basically desk was, I could hide behind my multiple monitors and just keep an eye on anyone that came in. And I did that for fucking 2 fucking weeks. Just coming in early, either starting my work a little bit early, or just, basically playing Pharaoh for an hour in the morning until people started filtering in. And this guy was basically abusing the system. This guy was abusing the system. And it was funny because I never said anything, because I'm not a snitch. Mama didn't raise no snitch. Snitches get stitches. I got taught that. I got taught by my parents, don't go telling tales. All right. But I had the vindication. I was like, vindication. But someone else must have fucking clocked onto it. Someone else must have clocked onto it. Maybe they'd like CCTV or something. Someone else must have clocked onto it, because after this manager working there for like 2 or 3 months, everyone's toil got taken away and you had to come in at 9, which fucked everyone. So immediately, 2 or 3 people in the office start looking for new jobs, including myself. I said, you cannot make me come in for 9. So if you make me, I said, I have to make something abundantly clear. If you make me come in for 9, my commute is 2 hours. When I can come in for 8, my commute is 30 minutes. Please don't make me come in at 9. And they were like, sorry, everyone's got to do it. I went, and I actually said, I know, because I was getting really fucked off. And I am the most polite, humble. I'm the most humble person. No, joking aside, I'm the most polite, professional. You might not think of it now, but I'm the most polite, professional, hard-working person when I love my job. I have no issue with doing I sometimes do 16-hour days, because I'll record for 8 hours, stream for 8 hours, go to bed. And I'm on right now, I am on day 15 without a day off. I've worked 2 weeks, because I've been to like tournaments and stuff. I've worked 2 weeks in a row, and it's Monday now. So I'm on day 15 without a day off, and I've been doing 8-hour streams. You can go and check the fucking receipts, boss. I've been doing 8-hour streams. So I'll work fucking hard. The moment that happened, I checked out. I started looking for another job. I said, you can't make me come in for 9. I said, I know why you're doing this. Lindsay is coming in, and she's fucking the toil for everyone. And I said, don't do this. You're going to, because I was a senior, I was a team leader at this point. I wasn't a manager, but I was a team leader. I was like, as a senior team leader, I said, don't do this. You're gonna have people quit. And they're like, we can't, blah, 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 blah. I was like, you're gonna have people quit. People start looking for jobs. You can't do it. I said, the team we've got right now is immaculate. Don't punish everyone else. I said, just punish Lindsay. Punish Lindsay, okay? Like, don't punish us, punish Lindsay. Wouldn't do it. No, we've got to treat everyone the same. No, you're not treating everyone the same. You're actually doing the opposite. But it was a new HR person. The old HR person had left. It was a new office manager. The old office manager left. Best manager I ever worked for. Irish bloke called Nigel. Fucking king. Would die for that man. All right? Would die for that man. So, those 2 people left. The 2 new managers came in. They had a 3rd manager to cover health and safety, because the health and safety guy who left, Karl, oh my God, absolute legend. And then everything collapsed. Everything collapsed. And this is what I think's happening at GW. This is what I think is happening at Games, or has happened at Games Workshop. They've had unbelievable talent in every department leave. And this is why I think, and the people that have left, and here's the big thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm like 2 hours behind on Super Chats now. I'm very, very sorry. I hope that you guys will forgive me, and I hope this has at least been entertaining and has been worth the wait, but I do really apologize, all right? I think that what happened is, here's the thing. You don't need to go to business school to be good at business. I was offered to do an MBA paid for by the last company that I worked for, and I turned it down. And the reason I turned it down is because I said, that's just going to distract me from my job. If I'm having to juggle my already I was taking on a lot. I was already doing the work of 2 people. To be fair, they were paying me for it, so they were a good company. I was doing 2 people's jobs, so they paid me 2 people's stuff, which is great. You don't normally get that, right? And I was fucking senior management at this point, so I was doing good. I was doing good, don't get me wrong. But I said, I don't need this MBA, which is the business degree, basically, in the UK. I don't need this to be better at my job. And they're like, oh, it's a good way to develop your CV. And I said, if I do it, I won't be able to focus on my job, and my job will suffer. So I said, I thank you for the offer, but I'm going to turn it down because I don't think it's going to help me. So I've got no business school acumen whatsoever. Going to business school will not make you good at business. It sounds insane, but if you go and look at successful business owners, a huge amount of them have never been to business school. Most of them had an idea, set up a business, and they knew it. Going to business school will not make you good at business. Either you are or you aren't. It's that simple. And nothing will change. All that going to business school will do is make your CV look good, which will make you hireable to fucking corporations, because someone's job is to hire you. And the way you actually hire someone is you just sit down with them and you basically just talk with them, have a conversation for like 2 or 3 hours. I used to do interviews all the time. And if you just sit down, because people can keep up an act for like half an hour in a standard interview, but after that, it's that the cracks start forming, the bullshit. You can start realizing that if they're chatting shit, right? So you just sit down with someone. So the best people I hired some of the best people I had for my team didn't have 2 fucking GCSEs to rub together. Didn't have a high school diploma if you're American. They didn't qualify fucking middle school, but they had experience. They were switched the fuck on. I don't need someone who's got a business degree. I need someone who I know I can train, who I know isn't going to be fucking calling in sick every 5 fucking seconds when they're not sick. If you're sick, you're sick. That's fine. But if you're taking the piss, you're taking the piss, right? You don't need that shit. All right, you don't need it. But the problem, I'm speaking in broad generalizations. Please understand, there will be many exceptions to the rule. Many exceptions. All right, you have to do your accountancy exams. A good accountant is worth their weight in gold. Okay, so there's very many exceptions to this, but we're talking about like MBAs and business degrees and stuff like that. You don't fucking need that shit. Great point, Artunes. Most programmers fucking self-taught. Most people who work in IT departments don't have an IT degree. Most people who fucking own IT shops, successful IT businesses, don't have an IT degree. How did they get good? Because they were naturally had affinity for technology. And when they were kids, when they were like fucking 5 years, 6 years old, 7 years old, they were making games on Game Maker. That's it. Okay? The whole thing about getting an MBA is that you can basically sell yourself to someone whose job is to look like they've hired the right person. And that's what's happened at Games Workshop, in my opinion. That's it. That's what's happened to Games Workshop. You've got all the original talent, all the big names has gone. They're either at Warlord Games or they set up a successful YouTube channel. It's that simple. Okay? And the people that are left are the people who work in HR with HR degrees and who went to business school with MBAs. And that's why Games Workshop has gone so corpo so quickly. Because basically, everything they're doing, FOMO sale tactics, all this kind of shit, everything they're doing, I bet you could go and find some best-selling business book, and half these tactics, if not all of them, are in there. That's what it is. Basically being run by business students. That's basically it. That is it's my theory. It's my theory. I could be wrong. But as someone who worked 10 years and saw it happen 3 times, and every single time it went to shit in the space of a year. I worked for one company for 4 years. First 3 years, a dream. And then, first 3 years were a dream. Last year, they rehired every position within 1 year. One girl went on extended maternity leave, came back. The only person she recognized in the office was me. Think how insane that is. No one stayed in the company for longer than a year. I was the longest person there. All right? I was the fucking sucker. I should have fucking moved on. I didn't know better at that time. But yeah. So that's it. That's it. No one who actually knows anything about business will ever use the word dynamic or synergy seriously. If you use those terms, they'll call you a wanker. Yeah. So, Mordy rant over. But that's my theory on... And Blackstone Chapter Master, I know we've gone very, very divergent from your original super chat there, mate. So I hope that's all right. But Blackstone Chapter Master, in reacting to the video that you sent in and everything, that's why Games Workshop has gone the way it is, and that's why I see Games Workshop as the fucking enemy right now. Yeah. And enemies are strong. I don't like enemies a strong word. I mean it like hypothetically. Please don't do anything stupid, anyone. I mean it hyperbole, metaphorically, whatever the word is. All right. Basically. We need our dynamic synergies to work in synergy while remaining dynamic. Yeah, dynamic synergy, onboarding, boots on the ground. We need to... there's just so many... What is it? Do you know what the 2 biggest fucking bullshit, wanky bollocks things are? When a company has a mission statement and our values. I don't give a flying fuck what your values are. I don't give a flying fuck what your mission statement is. I know what it is. I can look at your business and I can figure it out. Blue sky thinking. The moment it's fucked. I can point to the touch base. Yeah. I can tell you exactly the moment when it's fucked, all right? When your company starts doing big team meetings where everyone gets assigned an energy, blue energy, yellow energy, red energy, green energy. That's a real, if you will know what I'm talking about. You will know what I'm talking about. If you've been in one of those meetings, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm a blue energy person. I'm a red energy person. I don't give a fuck what energy you are. Susan's shit at her fucking job. Karl, I haven't seen him in 6 months and we're not allowed to remote work. Yeah, Cosmic, the only energy I give a fuck about is Rift energy. Yeah. The whole blue energy, red energy, green energy, yellow energy thing, there's loads of different names for it. It's the same shit, different time. It's basically blue. Sometimes they have different names. But blue energy is your analytical. Yellow energy is your big ideas. Green energy is your empathetic. And red energy is your doer, basically. Yeah. So that's that you will have heard the same things. If you've worked corpo, you've the amount of I can't keep going on this. I'm so sorry for the super chats, right? The amount of money which is wasted on these fucking corporate seminars is insane. And the companies, and the only reason a company ever fucking does it is because someone in HR or marketing is justifying their existence. If you have the spare time to organize and book a fucking business, blue sky, red energy, blue energy, yellow energy, green energy fucking seminar, your job is pointless. You have too much spare time. It's that simple. It's that simple. Yeah. You don't need it. You don't need it. Meetings, there are two kinds of work. There's proper work and there's busy work. Busy work is what morons do. I was going to say, busy work are what morons do to make them feel like they've had a good, productive day at work. And they can go home and they can be like, that was a great day at work. All you did was be in meetings and answer emails. That's it. That's all you've done. It's not real. You updated your fucking timesheet. That's not... Timesheets are death. Timesheets are death. Yeah. I can proudly say that, not all the time, I can proudly say there's a very clear point that you can see in any corporate I've worked for that's introduced timesheets when I stopped giving a fuck. Because at first I'd do it properly, and then when I started checking out, I would just put 8 hours work. And they'd be like, no, you've got to fill out what you've been doing. No. I will spend... you got to tell us what you've been doing every 15 minutes. No, I don't. I've been working. Are all my reports done? Have I met all my KPIs? Then what the fuck does it matter? Oh, but we need to know what you were doing for... Why? You don't need to know that. It's busy work. It's you justifying your existence because you brought the timesheet software in. Fucking hell. What is it? Is it not CPR? There's a whole suite of software. It's like CDR or something. It's a whole suite of software. It might be like CPR or something, but it's a whole suite of software that people bring in to like manage stuff. And I mean, some of it's useful, but so much of it gets introduced by people that don't know what they're doing. It just looks good. Yeah. So anyway, those introduced because people start taking the piss and doing nothing at work. Yes, CPS system. Thank you. You're absolutely right, Sunnywood. But a timesheet isn't going to make... Let me ask you this. Is a timesheet going to make someone who was taking the piss at work suddenly stop taking the piss? Or do you think that the person that's taking the piss is going to fill their timesheet in to make them look really, really good and still do no additional work? A timesheet that you have to fill in 50 minutes isn't going to make someone a better employee. If someone's taking the piss, they go. That's it. A bad employee will kill entire teams in less than 12 months. In less than 12 months. Because what happens, this is the last thing I got to say, because what happens is the good employees see the bad employee getting away with it again and again and again, and they go, the immortal question, well, why the fuck am I working so hard if Greg isn't pulling in his weight? Why am I... Yeah, it's the moment your employees ask a question like that to themselves, it's over. The moment that happens, whoever the problem employee is, they've got to go. They've got to go. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's going to... You've got to pay them out, pay them off. Doesn't matter. They've got to go. Every single time that you let the rot in, that's it. That's when it starts, and within 12 months, it's over. It's over. Within 12 months, irreparable damage. Yeah. Helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.